What a difference 24 hours makes. In this video, we're talking XRP. We've seen a bit of a breakdown in the XRP price action, and that's what we're going to review today. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on what this might mean for the price action of XRP going further forward. As I get into today's video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video, talking about the price action of XRP, starting things off with the 1 hour time frame. Now, before I get into today's video, I do want to kind of just stress that we are affiliated with many different exchanges. As many of you guys know, BitGet is my go-to platform at the moment, where I'd use it for 100% of my leverage positions and 90 to 95% of my spot positions. But obviously a good strategy to have during these bearish markets is to decentralize your exchange-based portfolios, basically making sure that you have exposure to as many different exchanges as possible, so that if something happens to one of the exchanges, you've got a backup and potentially a backup of your backup. As you can see just down over here in fact, that we have got links in the description below for BTCC, which is a fully regulated exchange over in the US and in Canada. No KYC available there. So again, one of those, if you don't like KYC, probably check out BTCC and start trading over there. They do not have any spot markets. It is all about your futures markets, and they do stocks as well. So why not check that out, linked in the description below. As I said, BitGet also over here. I always get that wrong side, over here. This is my go-to platform. They have spot as well as futures, Binance, which obviously needs no introduction, and of course MEXC. So guys, if you haven't yet signed up to all of these different exchanges, you should go ahead and get on that. The affiliate links are in the description below. And again, it's a great strategy to have exposure to as many of these exchanges as you possibly can. Find the one that works best for you and stick with that one. And of course, have a backup of your backup of your backup, so that you can be fully ready in the bullish market. Let's jump down into this analysis then. So XRP paired up with USDT on the BitGet spot exchange 1 hour time frame. You can see that yesterday we were trying to see a move to the upside, right? We were looking for this idea of a move towards 51.7 to 52.4. We broke down past the swing low at 48.667. That's basically meant our structure has changed. It's not this idea of where we're bullish moving upwards. Instead, we saw this breakdown quite aggressively. Again, we were in a bearish structure. We know we're in a bearish structure. This hasn't changed. It still is exactly where we sit. Okay, however, we can acknowledge that things are heavily oversold now, and we are looking for a bounce, a relief rally in the market across all the different timeframes that we would normally be looking at: the weekly, the daily, the 8 hour, 4 hour, and hourly, as you see here. But we are still bearish. Just because a relief rally is coming doesn't necessarily mean that we are done with our moves to the downside. As you can kind of see, we have these nested 5-wave patterns, and we are still targeting down a little bit deeper, which we'll talk about on the daily time frame as well in a moment. So we have to appreciate that what we've got here is another impulsive breakdown. We're currently potentially experiencing a bounce to the upside, but this isn't going to be long-lived in my opinion, and then we'll continue this move to the downside. Now, we can revisit this area of consolidation, right? So we can, of course, be talking about the 45 cent that we just hit, moving on up back towards kind of 49.50 cent, back to this area of consolidation, and be perfectly fine within it. The other thing that we have to consider here is the idea that maybe we are in a diagonal based pattern, and that could lead us into a lot of these zigzag impulsive breaks. Okay, so here you can see we had this 5-wave move coming down, we bounced up, and then we had another 5-wave move down. This in itself can be considered a zigzag pattern right in here, as well as with the idea is potentially being nested and this being a wave 1 of a wave 3. So there's a few different options, right? Let me go ahead and find some empty space to kind of try to explain this a little bit more detail. So when we have a 5-wave move like this, right? It's a 5-wave impulsive break to the downside. You would expect another 5-wave move to the downside, right? Because you start with 5, you must end in 5. Now, this is what we've experienced on XRP, and we have a little 3-wave move in between. Okay, this is a zigzag pattern. However, it's also possible that what we've got here is a large wave 1, wave 2, and a wave 3 that we can't yet see, okay? And this is because this could be a wave 1 of our wave 3 that contains a 5-wave move. We bounce up, we pull back down, and so forth, right? And so we still have the 5-wave start in position here of a wave 1. We bounce into the wave 3, and it looks like a zigzag, but could still be this formation of an nested, impulsive, structured breakdown to the downside where we see further and further moves. And so we have this little bounce potentially here, right? And then we have another big 5-wave drop, okay? And we can start to see that our breakdown is a 5-3-5-3-5, and the 5 waves will gain, as we nest this down, being a 5-wave structure, as you see, has these 5-wave moves nested inside them. I'll draw this out so that we can be really clear about this. Okay, so we have another 5-wave move here, okay? And then, of course, we have another 5-wave move over here. Okay, like so. And so what we've got here is if I change the color of the larger one to yellow, you can see your internal breakdowns. And in fact, I'll change this one into, let's say, blue. You can see that we have the yellow 5-wave pattern. The blue 5-wave pattern sits inside the wave 3. And inside the wave 3, we have the 5-3-5-3-5. Okay, so a 5-3-5-3-5 in yellow. We have a 5-3-5-3-5 in wave 3. We have a 5-3-5-3-5 in wave 1 and so forth. And so this is an impulsive nested down position that still mimics the idea that we have a zigzag pattern to start with. So as in we have that 5-wave move, we have the 3-wave move coming up, and then we have another 5-wave pattern to the downside, right? So it looks like it's just an A, B, C structure. And so when I come back to the XRP price action, knowing that we have these things, we can see 5, 3, 5, right? And it looks like a zigzag pattern. However, we need to acknowledge that it could still be masquerading as a 5-wave impulsive, deep, structured move to the downside, which if we come up into our daily time frame is exactly what I think is going on. Here you can see 1, 2, big 3 with a 5-wave move up into the 4 and then down into the 5, right? So our third wave low is expected to be between 35 and 39 cents. This is something that's been pretty consistent on the channel for quite some time. This is something that we are looking at. And of course, once we have this relief rally in wave 4 later, we'll talk about moving down towards 30, potentially even losing 30 cent towards the 25 cent area. Okay, so there's a lot of nested positions potentially going on here for XRP. We are, of course, looking at our breaks to the downside. And so we know that everything that's going on at the moment on the smaller timeframes, although we were hoping that we were still inside that wave 2 for a little bit of a push up higher yesterday, we saw a breakdown with Bitcoin, we see a breakdown with XRP, and we see the breakdown in the entire crypto space. And again, we can also take a look at other things such as our moving averages, our exponential moving averages, and things are not looking overly too pretty here either. So we do have the short-term price action looking to cross down lower than the longer-term price action. So a death cross is also imminent here on XRP as well. So it's not yet to happen, but I think it is just around the corner. And so for the most part, we can see that we are still targeting these moves to the downside. We are still targeting them down on the daily time frame, and it's going to take quite some time to play out. But ultimately, like I said earlier, if we start with 5, we must end in 5. And if we do complete this 5-wave pattern, what's the obvious thing that's going to happen here is a 3-wave bounce followed by further downside for another big 5-wave drop, again taking us down towards 20 to 25 cent. So we know that there's this idea that things are not looking overly great in the crypto market overall, and specifically if they complete these patterns. Now on the daily time frame, these are not yet complete. That means that there's still hope that we can invalidate or break out of these structures, and that would happen at 67.5 cent for XRP. So XRP would need to rally up to 67.5 or higher in order to break out of this bearish structure that it finds itself in. And do I think that's likely to happen? Not right now. I think it has the ability to do so, yes, but my concerns are that we might actually drop down before we get the opportunity to do so. Let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments down below on that one. As we kind of move over into the weekly time frame, where we can see that now price action has been dragged below the weekly 200 EMA at 47.94. Okay, currently trading at the point of recording this video at 47.49. Okay, so we know that price action is now below the 200 EMA. But again, this is Monday, right? So this is the weekly position. The only thing that really matters on the EMA side of things here is a closed position. Are we going to close below the 200 EMA, or are we going to rally back up above the 200 EMA for the Sunday close? This is what's going to determine whether or not the next week is going to be bullish or bearish. Like I said, we had a really boring kind of week last week where we saw the week before, so 28th of August, week commencing 28th of August, we closed below. We then stayed stagnant between the 50 and 200 EMA. And then, of course, we've just dragged down now lower than the 200 EMA. If we close down here, then I think the bears are going to take us down a little bit deeper. This obviously comes after hitting our C wave high expectations. And of course, I still have much higher expectations overall, but this is a nice healthy correction that we have to see. The big bearish situation here is if we do get that nested position coming down and we end up coming down deeper, more towards maybe the lows of what we saw back in June of 2020 or even December of 2020 around 17 cents. So we have to be a little bit cautious. There is still potentially a bearish structure here in play, but ultimately I think long term we have some pretty decent price action to be experiencing when it comes to the price action of XRP slightly longer term. You're talking months into years. So for the most part, it's good to see a breakdown. I think this gives us great accumulation. This is exactly where our daily target has been talking about for the last few weeks. Nothing unusual there. The only unusual part is I was hoping that we'd see on the hourly chart a little move upwards before we broke on down. We didn't get that. We just broke straight the way to the downside. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Are you buying up XRP during this dip, or are you waiting for cheaper prices, or do you think it's only up from here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.